The Victorian Gothic-style, Carling building, along with 6 associated structures, holds significant historical value. According to cartographic evidence, the Carling building was constructed around 1840, likely serving as maltings on the southern side of Red Lion Yard. By the latter part of the 19th century, it was repurposed to accommodate the printing operations for local newspapers, Carling family's Hertfordshire Express and Hitchin Gazette from 1882 to 1986. The accompanying buildings, numbered 2 through 7, were progressively added from the mid-19th century through the 1970s, reflecting the evolving needs and functionality of the site over time. The Bigin in Hitchin, a historic and possibly haunted almshouse, has a fascinating past. Archaeological digs in the late 1960s uncovered a skeleton named Old Charlie, sparking tales of ghostly presences in the building. Originally the sole Gilbertine priory in England, the Bigin struggled under financial constraints until its dissolution during Henry VIII's reign. In 1654, Thomas Kemper, a schoolteacher, left the property to support apprentices and women under specific conditions. Over time, the Bigin transitioned to a workhouse, although records are unclear on the duration. By 1857, Hitchin United Charities managed the almshouses, improving conditions and doubling residents' allowances. Misconduct prompted stricter rules. In 1877, Mrs. Cannon was famously expelled for drunkenness. In 1960, major renovations modernized the Bigin, reducing its capacity to 12 residents. Its storied history as a church, school, workhouse, and almshouse is immortalized in the town's fabric. Recognized as a Grade II star-listed building, the prominent printing office sign dwarfs the facade of this Georgian architectural landmark, unambiguously declaring its raison d'etre. The establishment, known as Pansta and Hailes, was a hub of printing activity with its origins deeply rooted in the legacy of Thomas Paternoster, 1708 to 1782, a noteworthy 18th-century bookseller and stationer in Hitchin. His lineage, specifically Thomas Paternoster, 1742 to 1830, perhaps pioneered occupancy at the 27 to 28 Sun Street venue. The store's impressive twin-front display, befittingly designed for his shop, is a tribute to the era's architectural elegance, with its subtly arched windows, delicate corners, and thin glazing bars. The tradition continued with Thomas's progeny, Charles Paternoster, 1802 to 1864, who joined the printing, stationery, and bookselling trade. His mantle was absorbed at 27 Sun Street by his kin, Charles Paternoster, 1829 to 1896, credited with diverse talents, including ironmongery and engineering. Subsequently, around 1873, the Paternoster name amalgamated with Charles Hailes, erstwhile stationer on Bucklersbury, to form Paternoster and Hailes. The long-standing stability of this venture through the decades of the 20th century contributed significantly to the conservation of the shopfront. One of the oldest buildings in Hitchin, the George in Bucklersbury, was originally constructed in 1450 as the residence of a wealthy merchant. It wasn't until 1676 that the building transitioned into a pub named Le Falcon, or the Falcon Inn. Over time, the Falcon vanished from records, but by 1855 it re-emerged as the Beehive. Under the watch of brewer John Steed from Bulldog, this iteration thrived for many years. In 1851, Mrs. Sarah Parker was known to have overseen the establishment. The Beehive's reputation took a hit when Charles Hyde became the tenant. He frequently ran afoul of the law for permitting unruly behavior. By 1869, complaints escalated, and the police labeled his establishment worse than a common beer house, accusing him of allowing improper gatherings. Consequently, Hyde lost his license. Taking over in December 1869, Mr. Joseph Molden faced challenges of his own. He was reprimanded in August of the following year for loud disturbances, which he attributed to rowdy recruits. He assured authorities that such incidents would not recur. In 1870, the pub was rebranded as The George, named after George Washington, and moved from its former location on High Street, then known as Cock Street. This transition effectively combined 2 previous licenses into one establishment. The George has continued to flourish through the years. Those who visited in the late 70s recall a bustling courtyard filled with young patrons, a scene likely repeated through successive generations. Bucklersbury stretches centrally from the bustling marketplace to Tilehouse Street. Originally serving as an open market in the 13th century, this pivotal location evolved into a lane flanked by permanent buildings by the 15th century. A stroll down Bucklersbury in Hitchin today reveals a rich tapestry of history. One can admire 15th century timber-framed houses masked by brick facades, 16th century inns, and even a 19th century wheelwright's shop. Each building, each step, serves as a tangible thread connecting to the past, weaving a fascinating narrative of local heritage. But how did Hitchin come to share the name Bucklersbury with its counterpart in the City of London? The origins are steeped in historical conjecture. One theory, perhaps romantically Victorian in its imagination, suggests the name derived from bucklemakers who populated the street with their trade. This idea found support in Reginald Hines' History of Hitchin, where he proposes that smiths and armourers once practiced their craft along the street. Despite the compelling narrative, this mystery remains tantalizingly unresolved. On the other hand, another explanation points to the influential Bockerell family, significant figures in municipal affairs in 13th century London. This theory posits that the family's name, not bucklemakers, lent itself to the christening of the street. The etymology of Bury, referring to a manor house, backs this conjecture. Nevertheless, the possibility of Bockerell family connections to Hitchin only adds more layers to the enigma. Shifting our focus to London's Bucklersbury lies deep in the pulsating heart of the city, mere steps away from the financial titan that is Bank. In the 14th century, it was the ordained site for gold and silver exchanges. As time marched on, this bustling area underwent transformations. Peppers and grocers initially dominated, before conceding to druggists and herbalists. The street even captured the lyrical fancy of Shakespeare's Falstaff, who quipped about these lisping hawthorn buds that come like women in men's apparel and smell like Bucklersbury in simple time. The area wasn't immune to critique, with Samuel Pepys grumbling in his diary on June 13, 1663, about a mad coachman tearing through Bucklersbury, annoying pedestrians and nearly running them over. London's Bucklersbury has also yielded archaeological treasures, uncovering historical marvels such as the Temple of Mithras and the Bucklersbury pavement mosaic. This small road stands as a testament to the rich, intricate layers of London's past, a key to understanding the manifold tales that shape the city's identity. Whether named for a storied family or skilled craftsmen, both Hitchin and London's Bucklersbury streets share a profound heritage that continues to captivate historians and visitors alike. Each building, each historical thread, weaves a fascinating tapestry, binding the local and the shared, the ordinary and the extraordinary, into an enduring legacy. The Cooper's Arms on Tilehouse Street step back in time to around 1750, when 81 Tilehouse Street was under the ownership of brewer William Lucas. This historic site has hosted illustrious visitors, rumoured to include the esteemed historian Reginald Hines and the renowned etcher F.L. Griggs, who would convene in the cosy parlour. Fast forward a century, John Webb took the helm as landlord until his passing in 1887. An innovative entrepreneur, Webb operated a horse-drawn taxi service to transport patrons from the railway station. He, along with his successor Edward Chapman, extended the hospitality by renting out bicycles, brakes and wagonettes from the same premises, making the Cooper's Arms a bustling hub of activity. In 1887, McMullans acquired the Cooper's Arms, ushering in a new era for this iconic establishment. Tilehouse Street, christened way back in 1460, is a picturesque parade of homes that whisper secrets from Tudor to Georgian times. Beneath their brick facades lie stories of eras gone by. One of the most poignant sagas revolves around a corner of the Tilehouse Street Baptist Church graveyard. A resting place for many since the church's inception, it eventually became a neglected patch of earth tangled with weeds and brimming with discarded rubbish. The church's Reverend R.H. Tebbot, frustrated by this state of affairs, envisioned a brighter future, a development of flats for the elderly on this overgrown land. But before shingles could be laid and foundations set, there was a rather significant task at hand: relocating the remains of those interred. This mission fell into the hands of Mr. Norman Renshaw of Biggleswade, who began the excavation in November 1978. The project wrapped up in June 1979, uncovering 232 bodies, among them the solemn graves of children and elders alike. Among the unearthed relics was the coffin handle plate from Hannah Foster's wooden casket, dated 1811. The Foster clan were prominent figures, known for their pivotal role in founding Hitchin's Baptist Church. Their elaborate underground vault, replete with lead-lined coffins, adorned with cherubim-decorated iron handles, spoke volumes of their reverence and status. Particularly enthralling were the brick-lined chambers uncovered, notably that of Susanna Morell, wife of Reverend Morell, and the profoundly intricate vault of the Thomas family, capable of housing multiple generations. The care taken to inscribe and preserve these memorials underscores the deep-seated respect for those who came before. Once cleared, the historic plot was transformed and the Robert Tebbert Court Flats came into being, welcoming tenants in July 1981. An official opening ceremony followed in September, a celebration of both new beginnings and respectful farewells. But Tilehouse Street's story doesn't end there. Edward Radcliffe's legacy in the form of two houses gifted for the use of the poor has its roots in 1625, a gesture of timeless charity. Though the precise buildings are lost to the annals of time, the spirit of his benevolence lingers. Weaving through the street, you sense its narrative, from the historic almshouses to Hitchin Priory, once home to the Radcliffe family. Witness to the Reformation's quakes and the rise of the Baptists, Tilehouse Street echoes with the fervent preachings of figures like Henry Dene. Denny, a dissenter of the established order, lit the spark that would birth a resilient congregation of Baptists, enduring through persecution under the Conventicle Act of 1664. The lore of Tilehouse Street is a rich tapestry, woven with threads of faith, compassion, and unyielding resilience. Its bricks and stones shelter not just the bodies, but the undying spirits of those who shaped its course. As history stands quietly on their shoulders, one can't help but feel a profound connection to the lives that paved the way.